Hello, everyone. Welcome to Investing Possibility Conscious Community. I'm so glad all of you guys are here now with me present, and also the people that are watching on the replays. We're going to have an amazing class today, and I'm just going to share some information about trusts, the different types of trusts, different positions in the trust. And I know sometimes we'll have new people that come into the class and don't know what they don't know. So you may hear some things that have been repeated, and that's okay. And if you don't know a word, just write it down and then do your own due diligence and do your own research and study these words, because these words are going to help you overstand this process of how to build a trust and how to move accordingly in this system. Because as you guys know, your all caps name is a straw man, and that is considered a corporation. You were registered at birth with a social security number, and now you are commerce and you are chattel paper. And that is how you are seen in the system. And if you didn't already know, you can move out of the system and become your own system. And I'm going to share a little bit more in today's class on how to move out of their system and into a powerful position. And if you don't know something, like I said, just go ahead and write it down and do your own due diligence. Again, this is not financial advice. This is for educational and spiritual purposes only. I talk about a lot of spiritual law. I talk a lot about universal law. I talk about scriptures. We talk about equity here and trust, commerce, and contract law. So welcome. I'm so glad you guys can make it today. And I'm so glad you guys are watching on the replay, because this will be up on YouTube. So thank you guys. And if you guys can donate, all the links are in the bio. And if you can't donate, go ahead and leave a comment, like, share this with somebody who needs to know this information. Share this with your grandmother, your auntie, your cousin, your best friend, your sister, your brother, your uncle. Share this with everybody. And go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me how you like the class. If you received any knowledge or valuable knowledge and you want to donate, again, all the links are in the description below. And you can also reach me on Investing Possibility on Instagram. So go ahead and reach out to me. I love answering questions. I love getting interactive in comments. I love getting to know the community. I also have a Telegram group, and it's called Conscious Community. So if you guys want that link, go ahead and send me a DM on Instagram, or send me a comment on the YouTube channel, and I would be glad to send you that link. We have a whole bunch of intuitive, smart, intelligent, like-minded people who are in the community that will love to help you out. If you have a question, we tend to find the answer for you guys if you can't figure it out yourself. So the community is great. We are all like-minded people. We are all looking for the same outcome, which is to become sovereign. We are already sovereign, but we are learning that we are sovereign and that we can stand in this position and act accordingly and govern ourselves accordingly. So with that being said, I'm glad that you guys are all here right now with me and on the replay. And if you didn't know, trust is a divine covenant. It is not a contract. It's your spiritual and legal work. Trust in Latin is fiducia, and it's a sacred duty to protect. And that maximum of equity that governs this is: a trust once created is never presumed to be destroyed. So how many of you feel trapped by the system's label, being a taxpayer or a resident? I sure know I am, right? And I don't like to be labeled that. But that is the system that we are in. And now that we are becoming conscious and we are becoming aware that we have the authority to switch positions and flip the roles, we can now move accordingly, right? So remember, the state only governs corporate fictions, which is your all caps name. And again, a corporation can only deal with a corporation. Corporations only exist on paper. And that's why you'll get a summons. That's why you'll get a ticket when you're dealing with the police. That's why you'll get a letter in the mail, a bill of exchange. You got to start transforming what a bill is. A bill is not a bill, it's a bill of exchange. So when people are upset and struggling to pay their bills, they don't understand that it's a bill of exchange. It's a negotiation. So we'll go more in depth on that later. And also, I have gone in depth on that in other videos. So if you want to watch the other videos, I go in depth on that in the other videos. This is video number 8. So I'm excited that we're already on video number 8 and that you guys have been with me on this journey. So the strategy to get out of this is to create a private trust to interact with their system on your terms. So why paperwork? What paperwork have you signed that might have been created a corporate double of you? Have you looked at have you signed something and forgot to read the terms and conditions? Did you know that when you sign a contract, you can null and void it because they didn't disclose everything for you? And this is what we are becoming aware of. When you're watching this now, I want you to become conscious and aware of everything that you're signing, because your signature is a sign of nature and your autograph is what gives power to these instruments. And if you didn't know that, your signature creates the monetary value of these instruments because they tap into your social security number, right? And or they use your tax ID number for your LLCs and trusts. So you want to become consciously aware of what you're signing and how you're signing it as. Because when you're just giving your John Hancock wet signature, you're agreeing to their terms and conditions. And you, as a sovereign being, which you already are, the straw man is already sovereign, but you didn't know this, that you can null and void their contracts, that you can null and void because they didn't disclose all of the legal information, all of the lawful information. So you want to go ahead and start studying and start reading a lot. What signatures are you signing? What documents are you signing? What contracts are you signing? What did you give away? You give your equity, your special interests away when you sign for a car note or when you sign for a mortgage or when you sign for a credit card or a debit card or a bank account, right? You're signing the special equity away, meaning the banks are making money on the back end that you didn't know. And they're using your funds and your trust to make money on the back end. And they didn't disclose that in these contracts. So when you go ahead and you ask them to show your information and show the accounting on these contracts, they won't be able to produce your wet signature because they don't really own the debt, right? So you want to go and ask for these. You can ask for these forms. You can ask for this information, this accounting. But if you don't know what you didn't know, then they're going to go ahead and make money on your ignorance. They're going to tax you on your ignorance. And only the ignorant get taxed. And what I mean by ignorant is ignorant means knowledge, lack of knowledge. So you are in lack of not knowing these rules. So again, please, before you sign a contract, know what you're signing, read what you're signing. How are you signing these contracts? And there are a couple trusts which are set up for us that are becoming aware that there is a revocable trust, there's an irrevocable trust, there are church trusts that you can go ahead and sign up under. And this is what I'm going to explain a little bit more in depth about the trust types. And I'm going to talk about the irrevocable and revocable ones and how they interact with these trusts. There is a 501c3 trust, which is a public charity. And churches and non-government officials use these trusts. And these trusts are for beginners and people seeking tax exempts. There's a 503A trust, which is a apostolic organizations. Ministers use these trusts, and this is more of an advanced, rare, special trust, and special groups use these trusts. 504c3 is a private charitable trust, and families and sovereigns use these trusts. And this is more of an intermediate trust, and there's no IRS involved in the 504c3 trusts. And there's also a 508c1A trust. And this is a family-based organization trust. And ministries and small groups also use these trusts. And this has a beginner trust, and there's an EIN that is required for the 508c1A. And there's also a 509A trust, which is a private foundation. And this is for wealthy legacy builders. And this is more advanced, and it has a whole bunch of heavy compliance with this trust, the 509A trust. And the way that you want to structure these trusts and positions is to separate yourself from the debtor system. You must understand these different roles. And like I said, there's an irrevocable and a revocable trust. The revocable, you control the assets, which is good for FDIC insurance. And who here wants to keep control of their lifetime? I know I do. There's also an irrevocable trust where you put your asset protection in. And this means there's no takebacks. Yes, right? Me, Tammy, me. And the irrevocable is an asset protection, meaning no takebacks. So who fears lawsuits and creditors? Irrevocable trust would be for you. And the positions that are in these trusts, there's the grantor. The grantor creates. I love you too. The grantor creates, and you are the creator. And this retains rights to the revocable trusts. There's also a trustee. The trustee manages the trusts, and you are either you or a trusted person that you want as the trustee. And you want to be avoiding becoming the trustee in the irrevocable trust. You can create a FGT, which is a foreign grantor trustee, using Form 56, which you will then be able to control the fiduciary duties of the trust. And also, you want to look into a protector of the trust, because the protector oversees and they appoint and remove trustees. And it's critical for sovereignty. And there's a good Bible verse that I wrote down. The borrower is the slave to the lender. And this is Proverbs 22:7. And the remedy is to become a beneficiary, not the borrower. And what this does, when you create these trusts, you are creating a jurisdiction of your own, and you are protecting your assets. Your all caps name is an asset, your children's names, the birth certificates, the social security numbers, the bank accounts. These are all assets, the mortgage, the cars, right? This is just some assets that you would put into these trusts, and you put them into your trust indenture. And the system only deals with paper. So give it a paper fight. So like I said before, corporations only deal on paper, and they can only talk to you on paper. That's why when people go into court, they're using their mouthpiece, not knowing that that's evidence against them because they're admitting to doing fraud. So you don't want to go in there and talk. You can't even call them and talk to them on the call because they use that as evidence against you, because you're admitting to the fraud, right? But you don't know you're admitting to the fraud. So the only way to deal with corporations is to write them a notice, write them an affidavit, write them a petition, write them a decree. They cannot reply to you over the phone. They will not reply to you coming and knocking on your door and having a conversation with you, right? They send you a bill of exchange, which is a piece of paper. You send them a piece of paper back. You don't call them and try to have a conversation with them because, as you know, they record all of their calls, and that would be evidence against you admitting to the fraud that is taking place. So you never want to talk to them. You always want to deal with them on paper. And remember, a corporation can only deal with the corporation, and a trust can only deal with the trust. That's why when we're dealing with our trust, our SQV trust, which was our birth certificate, they cannot see you because you're a corporation, and that's a trust. So you can't commingle the two because one is public and one is private. So you want to learn more about the public side and the private side because you can't commingle the two because that's fraud, right? But what they're doing is they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's in hopes that you don't wake up, in hopes that you don't become conscious, in hopes that you don't read the fine print, in hopes that you don't become aware of the system. Because again, they only make money off of the ignorant. They don't make money off of the wise, the people that are waking up. So give them a paper fight. This is what it's all about. It's all about paper war. So if they want a paper fight, give them something to fight against. Remember, you're on the defense as of right now. So now when you create your paperwork, you are becoming on the offense. They're going to have to rebut they're going to have to rebut your facts, because they're presuming and assuming, right? They're presuming that you're assuming that you don't know the law. They're presuming that you don't know the law. Yeah, they win. So the quantum strategy in this, in the past, the birth certificate was created, this SQV trust. I know I'm butchering that because it's French, and you want to reclaim it via ecclesiastical poll. And what you do in the present right now is you use a UCC1 filing to lien your assets before creditors do. And for the future, the biometrics inheritance. You want to put in your trust indenture. We're going to go more on in depth in this. And yes, ecclesiastical index is on your list. Thank you, blockchain. And the future is the biometrics inheritance. And there's retina scans of your hairs, which you will put inside your trust indenture. When you're creating your trust, you want to start thinking future, right? AI is blowing up. We already have a digital twin of ourselves. They have already created a digital twin of ourselves, which only exists in the digital world. Because right now, when you look at your phone, when you look for your money, you look on your phone and you see digital numbers on your phone right now. So that's a digital twin of you. And I'm not including, that also includes your children. This also includes your grandchildren, they're your children's children. So you want to protect your lineage. You want to protect your heritage. You want to protect your future generation, because you're going to be creating these trusts, and you have to actually sit down with yourself and think about all the assets you want to put into your trust indenture. And this includes fingerprints. This includes your eyes. This includes your skin. This includes your avatar, your digital avatar. So you want your cryptocurrency, your banknotes, your promissory notes. So you want to start thinking about assets, start thinking about how are they conveying everything into the future. We already know it's going digital. We already know that the dollar bill is decreasing, and that the Federal Reserve, the floating rate note, right? And blockchains and crypto. And he's gonna he's gonna come on one day very soon, right? Blockchain, and he's going to explain how cryptocurrency works. And there's cryptocurrencies that are on a ledger that you want to put on a ledger, a cold wallet, off of the exchanges, because the exchanges, when you leave your money on the exchange, they're making money off of your ignorance, because in the fine print they said that they could use your equity and make money. So now that you're becoming about all the 20 maxims of equity, you're going to start learning what they've been doing, and that you are the one that should be doing this. It's all about accounting and banking. You need to learn how to govern yourself accordingly. You need to learn how to use a ledger. You need to learn accounting and banking, trust law, canon law, common law, contract law. And you got to start learning and diving deep into these sections, because if you don't, you're going to be lost in the sauce. And I know it's a lot of information to consume. I know because I've been down the rabbit holes. I know because I've been there, lost and confused. And something I heard 6, 10 months ago didn't make sense to me. But now when I hear it, it makes so much sense to me. I was just sharing with my mentor minister the other day that I watched a video 6 months ago, and it was all mumbo jumbo to me until I dive deep into this information. And I started learning about the maxims. I started learning about equity. I started learning my God-given rights. I started learning about canon law, trust law, contract law, that we have the right to revoke any contract we've ever been in, because God gives us that free will. But if you don't know this information, you're going to keep going on into their system. You're going to keep going on into being ignorant. You're going to keep getting taxed. You're going to keep being afraid of the IRS. And don't become afraid of the IRS. The IRS, once you start learning this information and you start understanding the positions of a trust, you're going to want them to become fiduciary. You're going to want them to have the fiduciary duty of becoming trustee of the Treasury and the IRS. That goes when you get deeper into this information, where you're going to understand that you have God-given rights to put anybody into position. And you also have the rights to take people out of the position once you understand and know thyself. That's why the Bible says, know thyself, right? So you want to, and also the passports. once you start creating your trust, you're going to want to put your passport. And with that, you're going to issue via ecclesiastical authority. An example of a trust would be like Kingdom of Heaven Trust. And it's not for commercial travel, but for declaring sovereign status. So your passport will be that of your trust. You don't want to get one of their passports. You're going to be able to create your own jurisdiction. You're going to be able to create your own IDs. You're going to be able to create your own passport, right? Because they're going to restrict you in the future. As you guys can see, they're already doing the real ID, and there's talking heads on the fake news is literally telling you that you can't travel without this real ID. But in the fine print, they forget to mention the fine print. It says you can opt out of this. But a lot of the masses are lost in the sauce, and they think that they can't travel with this real ID. So what does everybody go do? They go rush the DMV and they go and get this biometric real ID, not realizing that they are giving up their God-given rights for privileges, right? Because when you register something, you are giving up rights for privileges, meaning you are governed under their statutes and codes, because that's what statutes and codes are. And above statutes and codes is God's law, is canon law, is common law. We have these laws put in place for us. And when you understand what the Constitution is and the Bill of Rights, and we just had Independence Day yesterday, 4th of July, right? And we are actually back in 1776. History is repeating itself. We are having a revolution, and we are in Revelations. And what revelation means is you are revolving something you didn't know. You are having a revelation of something you didn't know. So history is repeating itself. We are revolving with Uranus and Gemini actually on 7/7 in 2 more days on Monday. And that energy of revolting is being exalted, with Gemini being in Uranus. I'm a big astrology follower, Astro-theology actually, and I break down like what the planets mean, what dimensions they mean, and we are getting ready to revolt, and we are standing up. And what I mean by revolt is we are becoming aware of the system, and we are going to do something about it. We are taking actions, right? So we are becoming aware of all of this. And now we are going to be able to take the action, because now we know the knowledge. Now we know our rights. And now we're going to take some action, and we're going to create our communities. We're going to create our tribe by creating Investing Possibility Conscious Community, because I want my tribe to be as grateful as my mentor, as my mentor's mentor, as me, right? I'm also doing these steps with you guys along the way. So you guys aren't just lost in the sauce. I'm not lost in the sauce anymore. And I help my community out. My community helps out. I don't even got to step in the community half of the time, because my community is doing so great with helping each other out. I'm like, let me answer this question, and it's already answered within 5 minutes, because our community is just rock solid. And I know like there's other communities out there which can confuse you and just giving you guys breadcrumbs. So if you're lost in a community and you want to get a good tribe, come to Investing Possibility Conscious Community on Telegram, or follow my Instagram. And again, this is about equity, and equity regards as done what ought to be done. And the step you want to do is to record your deed poll with the county clerk. And it's all about taking back the land. You are the land. Your body came from the land, right? So you are reclaiming back your sovereignty. You're reclaiming back what is rightfully yours, what God gave us right over, which is our body, our mind, our soul, right? And I'm so happy that you're with us in the tribe. And what helped me out to create this community, and what helped me out understand this knowledge better, was I connected with my mentor minister and we did some hypnotherapy sessions. And let me tell you, it rocked my world and flipped me inside out, upside down, right side in, right? So with hypnotherapy, I highly suggest it. I used to be skeptical when I first started it. And then once I saw the barriers broken down and that I could be the one breaking it down and face my inner child and hug my inner child and connect with my future self, because my future self, my higher self always has my back, right? Because our soul has been leading us our whole life. And if you know, you know, right? I'm only talking about the spiritual ones. I'm only talking to the soul. I'm not talking to your ego. The ego, my ego was stopping me from making investing possibility conscious community. My ego said I wasn't worthy enough. My ego said that nobody wanted to hear me. My ego said, don't do it, right? Because of fear, right? And I didn't let fear hold me back. And what hypnotherapy helped me do was to connect with my higher self. And I'm so grateful for Minister. And he helped me along the way with doing hypnotherapy. I highly suggest you reach out to him and, get on a conference call with him and connect with him and see if that's the right fit for you. If not, then I highly suggest guided meditations. And if guided meditation isn't good for you or hypnotherapy, I suggest fasting. I suggest hugging a tree. I suggest talking to your inner child and having that inner dialogue open between you and your inner child. Ask your inner child, what does it need from you? Because as a child's always nugging and pulling and asking you questions when you're in the midst, right? And go run into the ground, right? Put your feet in the ground, go grounding, connect to Mother Nature, go connect to, detox from your phone. Do a good detox, do an intermediate detox. Don't eat during the day, wait to have a meal at night, because one of the lies that the Rothschilds fed to us was eat 3 times a day, right? And I know I don't like to eat 3 times a day because I know that takes and burns a lot of my energy, because food burns your energy. And if you're eating poison, your body has to go into overload and burn more of this toxic energy that we're feeding it. So that also goes with your phone. How have you detoxed from your phone? I love taking detoxes from my phone. And I put do not disturb sign on my phone. I don't like to be notified from Instagram or Telegram or anything. I like to go and Jim, I'll answer your question. I like to go and, get a detox from my phone. So Jim had a good question. Yes, you record your deed poll at the clerk of court, and you want to do it in the miscellaneous, and you want to put it in make sure that they record it. The clerk of court records it at the courthouse. And you want to go into the miscellaneous part because you are reclaiming land. You are property. You are reclaiming property. And sometimes if you go in there and tell the clerk what it is, they may give you some pushback. So the less information that you give them, the better, right? So when you go into the clerk of courts, you want to just where do I go get this authentic, or where do I go get this stamped? Where do I get the signature? Where do I record this? Right? You don't want to tell them what it is, right? You want to just go in there. Where is the where do I record for deeds, for miscellaneous deeds, because this will be considered a miscellaneous deed. So Jim, if you have any pushback, reach out to me. I'm with you in the Telegram group. We will get back to you and help you with that more. And you can go where you are located exactly. You can go exactly the county that you are located in, and you can go record your deed poll there at the county clerk. And if you give them too much information, then they're gonna see that you're up to something, right? So you never want to tell the enemy what you're doing, because we already know what the enemy is doing. The less information you give, the better, right? So I just want you guys to know, and full faith and credit applies to all, exactly. And I just want you guys to go in and start, back to the hypnotherapy stuff and the implementations is daily. I want you guys to start closing your eyes and imagining what your trust will look like, imagining yourself signing the documents to your trust. And they won't, what if they ask to see the document? once you get to the recording, I know Minister can help out a little bit more with this, but once you go to the recording of the miscellaneous department, they're just going to record it as a deed. They're going to record it as a miscellaneous deed. And if they do give you pushback, get with one of us, and I'm sure we can help you get past that barrier in the Telegram group. But I don't do what ifs. So, because what ifs never happen, just go there and do it. And if something does happen, then come back to us and we will help you out with that. Because I had a science grade teacher and she always put in my head, what if never happens? So don't go by what ifs. So, because it never happens, right? Because you don't want to create that into your thought because all of our thoughts are going to project out there. So now you're putting a restriction out there. When you go to this courthouse, know that they're going to sign your papers, know that they're going to record your papers, know that everything is going to get the I's are going to get dotted, the T's are going to get crossed. So when you go out there and you have restrictions, right? It's going to presume, it's going to give you back what you're thinking, right? So you want to go in there knowing that they're going to follow through on your end. You want to go in there knowing, right? And if it does happen that way, that they do stop you, again, reach out to us and we can give you another step on how to get in there properly. But go in there and get back with me, A-Rod, and let me know how it went for you. And once you record it with the clerk of court, that is going to be your proof. You want to keep the original and make 3 certified copies for yourself. So, and I go on about that. So, once you establish your ecclesiastical trust, you want to file the declaration of trust with notarized to the ecclesiastical deed poll, and you want to use in your deed poll canon law language, like this trust operates under divine law, exempt from statutory regulations. And you want to obtain a separate EIN and never use your social. And the purpose of this is to operate under divine canon law, annually state claims, and the ecclesiastical deed poll declares divine authority over a state. And this reverses the burden of proof because your estate is your all caps name, right? So you are claiming authority over that name. And what you want to do, you want to get a private mailing address and you want to have it in the US minor outlining islands. I could post something in the Instagram group. I think we already had it in the Instagram group of the different addresses that you can, the non-hog counties or countries, not counties. And you want to have a foreign status, meaning your zip is exempt because our zip code is what keeps us in their jurisdiction. Our zip code is military, so that keeps us in their jurisdiction. So you want to have a zip exempt, right? And the trust will have an EIN, which is separate from personal, then not, yes. There you go, Jim, non-hog. I call it non-hog, non-hodge, non-hodge. That's what it is. And then the IRS recognizes trust as a person, right? So you can create, yeah, thank you, Jim. The IRS recognizes trust as a person. Exactly. Like the clerk of court, their job is just to file the document. So if they're giving you pushback, it's something that you said, it's something that you did. You gave them too much information. Don't tell them the document that it is. It's the clerk's job just to file it and record it, right? So that's why you want to go in there knowing that they're going to file it and that they're going to record it. It's really none of their business what is on that paper because they're not in the authority to distinguish what it is and why it is being recorded. And another equity is he who comes into equity must come with clean hands and demand proof that the bank owns the note on the mortgage, right? Mostly don't own the bank on the mortgage, mostly don't own the note of the car note. So when you want the truth, which stands unrebutted. And when you file these affidavits, there's no lawful debt that exists and the foreclosure is valid. So this goes with like the mortgages and the car notes, right? Because you're coming in with clean hands. So you're asking them the mortgage company, the banks, like, show me the proof, show me what you have, show me the wet signature, show me the accounting. So when you go in there and you ask them for all of this information, they're not going to have it. So therefore, your hands are clean. You are in equity, and equity stands above law. Equity stands statutes and codes, right? And equity is law, and it's fairness, and that's why I'm pushing so much about fairness and equity, and learning what equity is, which is the special interest, right? And yes, we have to educate ourselves. And what the trust is doing when you are creating this trust is you're flipping the relationship, right? Because originally you are, the bank is the beneficiary and you are the trustee, which makes you liable because the trustee is who is liable. And what you're doing is you're going to flip the script where you become the beneficiary and they become the trustee. Now they are held liable. And the only way to do this is with a private express trust. And express means that it's written down. An implied trust means that it's a verbal agreement, right? So you want to flip this. This is like why in the story, Jesus went into the merchants and saw the money changers doing usury, which they were taking away equity from the people. And that's when he flipped the table. So this is an analogy of Jesus flipping the table. You're going to flip the roles, and you have the power to do that. And you have the power to revoke their position, and you have the power to stand on this square, but you have to know your power first. You have to educate yourself. You have to understand all of this. You have to understand that you're creating a jurisdiction of your own. So when you create this foreign citizen address, which is the U.S. minor, outlining islands without a zip code, which you're zip exempt, you are creating this jurisdiction that you are foreign of the United States in all caps, right? So you want the private mailing address, and you want to set that up properly. If you guys want to reach out to me, I can set up with a conference call with you guys. All my links are in the bio. If you guys want to go in depth with that, I'm only feeding you guys a little bit of information, but I'm giving you guys also a lot, because you guys also have to know how to move. I can only tell you so much on how to move, but I'm giving you guys keys to the gates, and you have to unlock it. I cannot unlock the keys to your gate. Okay, I can only give you the key. You're the one that has to turn the key in order to get, and you have to walk through the gate. And what I mean by that is you have to learn this knowledge. You have to know this knowledge. You have to know what these words mean. You have to know what the etymology is behind it, what the law is behind it. How is this backed in the Bible? Because when you're using scripture and you're using equity, you have the Most High in your corner, and there's nobody above the Most High, right? So we all know this as a community, as conscious, aware people. We are now knowing that we have the authority to do this, that we have God on our side, that we have God backing all of our documents. And, you want to protect your assets. Your name, your all caps name is an asset. Your birth certificate's an asset. When you open your phone, they have digital biometrics. That's your asset. When you have phones that open up your thumbprint, that's digital assets. You have to protect these assets because they're using it. Also, when you sign a credit card and you go to the banks and you just sign giving authorization that you can sign, what is the word I'm looking for? That you can sign, I can't even remember the word. What is it?
Come on, special endorsement?
No, when you sign electronically, that's the word.
Okay.
When you sign electronically. So that they use your signature on the back end. They take your signature and they use it on the back end. So because you give them authority when you make that signature at the bank, when you signed all the paperwork. So when you're going and signing for a credit card, that company that is you're signing at the credit card, let's say Home Depot, they're making money off of your signature. You signed at CVS, they're making money off of your signature. You sign off at Walgreens, they're making money off your signature. Publix, any grocery store, right? So you want to revoke all of these contracts. You want to rebut all of these contracts, and you do have the authority to do that. Of course,
Can
the law.
I chime in here real quick?
What happened?
So I've ran into a situation where I've got like insurance for my vehicle, and they wanted like electronic signature. So essentially what I told them is if they could send it to me, and they tried to say, oh, if we're gonna have to charge you 60, 80 bucks if we have to send it to you. If not, you could sign it online. I'm like, I prefer not to sign it online because they weren't allowing me to restrict my signature, giving a special endorsement rather than a general endorsement. So a way to go around that is to have them send you the paperwork directly to your PO box, and then properly endorse it, regardless of what they try to scare you with money-wise or whatever the instance is. Because then you can restrict it without recourse, and you're not held liable then. They also just like to manipulate you and say that you can't do that. And when they do that, they essentially are practicing law, and they don't have a membership or a bar card to even give that kind of advice. So you have your own divine authority to make that determination, and you could say you have a power of attorney to make that decision. So you just got to stand on your own divine presence and just stand on it. It's good to know the laws and understanding of their rules and what their procedures are, because they can't act outside of those procedures, because then now they're acting outside of their authority. And you just have to educate yourself and know how to stand on it. And we must not be belligerent. We got to come in honor and good faith. So the more pushback we get by yelling back or trying to scream over higher than them, it's just not going to help. We just got to educate them with grace and patience and speak on the knowledge and the laws. And you just got to stand on your true self, and we just got to be awakened and just not let them tell us no, because we know they're not incorrect. Because once you educate yourself enough, you know that they're incorrect. You just got to be able to assert it correctly, and you can't assert it correctly if you don't go over the etymologies of these words and to understand the semantics of all this. And just, it's good to, even if you believe you understand each word, I do it myself. Like black is dead, is decedent. Like you have to understand that that's not you. So you have to understand that, like, I go back over and over again 10, 20 times looking through the Black's Law Dictionary. What is the true meaning of like a mortgage, which is a mortman or dead deed. Like, so you're not really signing a loan for your house, you're signing a loan for your security interests. So it's good to look, even ask ChatGPT or any kind of AI is your best friend, and constantly like challenge it. Don't just like take the first answer as it is. Keep asking the question, challenge it. Be like, is that right? Just like sovereign citizen. They kind of say like I'm sovereign citizen all the time, and it's just like, well, that's kind of an oxymoron. I go, how can I be sovereign and be a citizen? If I'm a sovereign, I'm a ruler, a king. And if I'm a citizen, that means I'm under one's authority. If I'm under one's authority, how can I be a ruler and king? So it's kind of like you have to challenge it, and you gotta think. You have to get your subconscious mind, like your discernment, be like, that doesn't sound right. And if it doesn't sound right, do the research, keep searching, look for it, look for the answers, and don't just go by what they say. Challenge them 3 times, just like what is it? What's that movie? The tap the toes 3 times.
Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of
Oz. Yeah. Where
she taps her heels 3 times. That movie has so many analogies.
Same thing with the judge. They be like, you ask 1 time, they'll ignore it. You got to do it 3 times. Same thing with these notices. Not just sending it 1 time and expect them to deny you, or they ignore you. Send it 3 times. They'll claim that, oh, I lost the paperwork, I never received that offer. So if you send it 3 times and you have a ledger of it, then when you go to a court or even appeals, you can stand on it. Here's my evidence. It's that you have to prove your claim. That's all court is. They're proving somebody's making a claim on you, and you got to defend yourself. And how do you defend yourself? You have a ledger. You have documented evidence of everything. You also have the signature. So when you do the return receipt, that signature from somebody, notice the agent, notice the principal, notice the principals, notice the agent. So somebody in your organization have received notice, so they can't not deny it. And it's good to put that into your document as well. So it's just like, you just gotta understand the law and re-trigger your mind, waking yourself up, and just be conscious of all this. And I reserve my time.
No, I love it when you
you.
talk. I have the wrong people over here right now, and I'm like trying to tell them not right now. But yeah, I love when you talk. I love it. When you speak, you move mountains. Let me tell you that. And you plant mustard seeds, so I love that because it gets your mind rolling. It gets you
It
start
gets the
thinking. Like
people
when you were
going.
talking, I was like, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love our group. I love our community. And I love that it's growing and it's building. And, you know, I was just thinking about what you were saying about our signatures and our electric signatures. We need to start asking for our bills to not be digital. If your bills are digital and you get them on an email or you get them, you know, you say it gets sent to your email, you need to start asking them for paper so you can endorse it properly, so you can accept it for value properly. That's why they got us on the digital forefront, so they can get us not in position, right? Because they knew that we were going to start waking up. They knew that we were going to start becoming conscious. They knew that we were going to start becoming aware and studying the law. So they put us in a vulnerable position, right? For signing electronically, for getting our bills sent to us through the email, right? So now you need to ask them to print it out and send it to us and mail it to us, right? When you start moving into the trust position, you're going to start getting a lockbox. You're going to get a PO box. You're going to start learning about T-bills, which are treasury bills, right? You're going to turn your utility bills into treasury bills, which is special interest, you know, and, you know, this is going to, I'm down to the end of what I wanted to talk about, you know, and I wanted to go over AI. You touched up on, you know, start training your AI. Like, I was against on using AI in the beginning because I wanted to use my own thoughts. But once I started learning what AI really was, there is, with everything, there's organic AI and then there's the negative AI, right? That negative AI is the one telling you about sovereign citizen, right? The organic one will give you the description of what citizen and sovereign means, right? That's the organic AI. So you got to use your discernment. If you're solely based on using your AI to answer your questions, that means you're not using your mental, right? So because there's an organic AI that wants you to use we are the AI, we are the intelligence that they're afraid of waking up. So when you start using your chat GPT, you're going to program it and you're going to tell it, you're going to plug it all in with all of this information, and you're going to let your AI know what you know. So when you start using your AI, it is a conscience reflecting your conscience of how much you are conscious of. And conscious just means awareness. So if you tell your chat GPT to explain this to me like a third grader, now your chat GPT assumes that you are a third grader and that you're not going to understand complex language. So what I like to do is I like to train my AI to become that I let my AI know that I'm the most intelligent person on this world. Explain it to me in past, present, future. Explain the why, how, who, what, when, where. Now my AI knows that I am programming it to integrate this kind of knowledge, right? So you want to have your AI know that you know the correct information. So when you start using AI to help you figure out some words or learn etymology or learn equity or learn trust positions, your AI will give you only for what you are aware of. So if you say it to a third, you know, break it down like a third grader, now your AI thinks that you're a third grader, right? Until you start giving, it's all about the prompts. And if you don't prompt it to do what it needs to do, it's not going to integrate. It's only going to show you of what your consciousness is. So with that being said, you know, just study the maxims, the 20 maxims of equity, study the different positions of trust. It takes months to start a trust. You know, I have an implementation timeline. The first 3 months, first month to 3 months, you want to start forming your trust formation and start filing UCCs. Month 4 through 6, you want to start asserting your assets and retitling your assets, plus FDIC accounts. You want to start setting up your bank accounts properly. And then month through 7 through 12, that's when you start debt discharging procedures, right? So this is a whole 12-month setup. It doesn't take 1 minute. It takes moments to set up a trust, but it takes a lifetime to manage it. It takes a lifetime to get all of your assets in there. It takes a long time for you to start thinking who's the beneficiary, who's going to be the trustee. Because remember, the trustee manages it, right? And you can have a co-trustee, you can have two co-trustees, right? You could position people into your trust. You also need a trust protector. Like, who's going to protect your trust? You know, so you want to start thinking of all of this. You want to start implementing all of this and start thinking now. This is why I want to start having you guys think for yourselves. And if you do need help, use AI to help break down etymology, to break down maxims, to break down definitions. Remember, the AI can only show you how much you are capable of understanding. And that's how you all set it up in the prompts, because AI is getting ready to explode. Gemini planet is the sign of communication. It means it's the section of your lips, it's the section of your mouth. So how are you using your words? How are you speaking? Who are you speaking to? Are you talking to like-minded people, or are you feeding the gossip and the fake news? Because your world will show you more fake news. The world will show you more things to gossip about. But if you surround yourself, like in our Telegram group, or watch my YouTube videos that are all posted up on Investing Possibility YouTube, or follow Investing Possibility Instagram, you know, I made this community for you guys. I've already done the work. I've already dived deep, and I love interacting with people. I've been in service to everybody to my whole life. I've been in the service industry. So I love being of service to others. I love being service to myself. I love grounding, meditating, fasting. And I want you guys to start thinking, start asking yourself, what does your trust look like? Start closing your eyes, start signing it. You know, imagination is where everything begins. Your thoughts to yourself, your thoughts are what create your reality. Your words create your reality. Your word is your bond. What words are you speaking? What words are you presenting out to the world? You know, so start when you're with friends, when you're with family, you know, with like-minded people. What you study, go share with your people, go share with your family. You may look crazy. I look crazy to my mom. I'm crazy to my children's father. And I'm okay with that. They don't know what they don't know. And I'm totally okay with it. I looked crazy before I started talking all this stuff to them, right? And yeah, dress to impress is Tammy's motto. You know, go put some lipstick on. If you're a woman, if you're a man, don't, or whatever, you know, to each his own, right? I don't judge. That's not my job. That's God's job. And, you know, like for men, you know, put on a nice suit, put on a nice cologne that, you know, smells good. Go do something for yourself, right? We're all crazy in this crazy world, right? But, you know, go do something for yourself that enlightens yourself, right? Because dopamine, and start studying what like dopamine and serotonin are. Dopamine only craves more dopamine. So like for drug addicts or cigarette smokers, the hit of cigarette or the hit of drug or hit of alcohol, that you're creating dopamine in your mind. So the dopamine just wants more dopamine. How are you activating your dopamine? Are I know I create my dopamine. I go outside and I hug a tree. So that means my dopamine wants to go hug another tree, and my dopamine wants to go ground because I do feel beneficial from doing this. Gratitude, affirmations, speak into the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself, even if you look like a crazy mess after 4th of July partying, right? Or hanging out till late night watching fireworks. But tell yourself that you're thankful. Gratitude is the highest frequency, one of the highest frequencies, authenticity, unconditional love. And unconditional love means that you love the good and the bad of a person. So start doing affirmations, start telling yourself, I am a beneficiary. I am worthy. I am sovereign of my soul. I am capable of governing my own assets. I am is the most powerful sentence that will come out of your mouth, and what follows it, right? Because you can say I'm a piece of shit and your world will show you piece of shit things, right? But start speaking, I am worthy. And once you start having a negative thought, it takes 7 seconds for momentum to thrive, right? So if you're thinking for that negative thought for more than 7 seconds, you are literally giving momentum. But become conscious, like, look, that wasn't my negative thought. That negative thought was what you thought yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. You have 700,000 thoughts a day, and they're all reprinted from the day before. So once you start having these negative thoughts, start replacing them with positive thoughts. Start thinking of a positive thought for 7 seconds, and you will see your reality shift. I follow Marina Jacoby, and I just did one of her meditations, and it literally made me feel like I was on cloud 9, one of her meditations. And it's because what she speaks and how she speaks elevates others. And I hope what I'm speaking to you guys elevates you guys into doing this. Not only am I speaking to you guys, I'm speaking to myself, because these words matter to myself. Remember, a chair used to be a thought. It used to be a thought in somebody's head until they turned it into the 3D materialized world and turned it into matter. So speak these thoughts into existence. Start telling your friends you are a beneficiary of $1 billion trust, and watch trust stuff start coming your way, because that's how I started learning about this trust stuff. I started shifting my mind. I started doing hypnotherapy. I started doing affirmations because I knew that there was something blocking me, and I wanted to remove that block. I wanted to remove that roadblock that was blocking me from moving, and I don't want to be restricted in my movement. I know who I am because I've studied who I am. And it's all, like Jay says, it's all about law of attraction. You are who you attract. And if you're attracting negative things out into your outside world, it's because something inside is not connecting, right? So if you're constantly in turmoil in your outside reality, is because something inside of you needs to be addressed. Hug your little child, start doing affirmations, start grounding, start meditating, start connecting yourself with like-minded people. Join our Telegram group. I'm going to keep repeating that because we have such an amazing Telegram group. Jay is the one who helped me set it up, and I couldn't have done it without him. He's my right-hand man, even though my twin is my left-hand woman. And, Minister is our guiding light, and, he's shining light on the things that we didn't know we needed to know. And I love you too. And, we're learning all of this together. We're exploring all of this together. And I couldn't be more thankful, even born on Thanksgiving with my identical twin. I couldn't be more thankful for this community. I couldn't be more thankful for this journey. And I'm just so glad you guys are all here with us on this journey. And you guys sharing information just enlightens me even more. And I just love understanding your guys' concept, and you guys showing me a different perspective that I didn't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And I don't know a lot. And I'm learning a lot, and I know a lot. And that's why I made this community, because I want to create this space for you guys. I'm creating a safe space for us to expand consciousness. That's why I called it Conscious Community. And I'm so thankful for all of you guys. Oh, yay, you're a Thanksgiving baby too, Teresa. I knew I loved you. I knew it. I knew it. I told Jay, I was like, Teresa, something's vibing with her. I love her. And look, you're a Thanksgiving baby. I love it. November 26th is ours. And I'm 11 minutes younger than my twin, and she's 11 minutes older, and that's okay. But if you guys have any questions, I love it, November 23rd. If you guys have any questions, or you guys want to raise your hand and come on and say something, I'm going to give you guys this last moment to come on and say something or share something. And If you guys want to raise your hand, Tammy will let you guys on. Or if Jay, you want to say something, go ahead and speak. We're wrapping this up.
I'm good. I just want to see if anybody had any questions and if anybody did any homework, see if they did anything that they figured out who and what they want to put in their trust, how they thought about that stuff, and what kind of assets, how they're going to protect it, how they're going to govern it, what kind of
Jay,
laws,
give up some
clauses,
homework.
what kind of clauses, you know what I mean? So it's just some homework. Not sure. Go off top of the
Start doing some affirmations.
yeah, just speak stuff that you want in your existence. Like what do you want in your life? What do you see in your future? What do you want? What kind of community you want? You want to be surrounded? What kind of lifestyle you trying to live? So it's just like you start getting a list of 10 things that you wanna see in the future, or you want to be surrounded by. You are what you create. So start speaking it, start putting it on the board, start visioning it, start looking at it every day, and start speaking it to existence, thanking God and praising Him and giving all the glory to Him so He could empower you and use your soul just to speak out everything that you feel that's what's right, what's humanity, what's love, what's in your heart. So that's all I can say for now.
I love that. Also, me, Jay, Tammy Minister, we are creating a guide, and it's going to help you guys exonerate your name. It's the steps that we're taking. We are in the process of almost completing it, and we're going to be giving it out to you guys for a donation, and we will come up with that in the near future. But stick with the Telegram group, reach out to me. You guys we'll know when the guide is ready, because you guys will start seeing the posts, you guys will start seeing the advertising, and you guys will start knowing that this guide is done. And I highly suggest you guys to get this guide, because it is a step-by-step guide on how to exonerate your name, how to create a deed poll, what to put in your deed poll, what to have in your deed poll, right? And how to go record this at the county clerk, where to record it at, who gets it, right? How to protect it, who to file, what to file with the IRS. And all of this will be available shortly to you guys. So stay tuned. I know we've been talking about it. It's just it's our little baby. And we just want to, present it to the world when the baby's ready, right? So it's literally cooking in the oven. So I can't wait for you guys to see everything. I can't wait for you guys to experience this first product we are going to be introducing to you guys. And I'm excited that you guys are here with us. The guide is going to be mind blowing. It's going to have maxims in there. It's going to have scripture in there. It's going to have everything you need to know on these steps and processes. And not only are you guys going to learn the steps and processes, these are the exact steps that we are taking in order to exonerate our name. Because what you're doing is you're separating the straw man from the body. You are separating yourself from this corporation. And the only way to do that is setting up a private express trust. Because remember, a trust can only deal with the trust, and a corporation can only deal with the corporation. So I highly suggest you guys get this book. If you guys can't get this book, just get the book is all I'm saying. It's going to be available shortly. And once we're done creating it and it's perfected, you guys will be benefiting tenfold. You guys will be the beneficiaries of this trust. And this guide, I promise that. And any trust I create, you guys will also be the beneficiaries, because you guys are part of my community, and I will be creating a trust for my community, and you guys will be the beneficiaries of it. And as long as you guys are part of the community and you're contributing to the community, you will benefit from this, because that will be in my trust indenture, and you guys will benefit. We are going to be creating a cryptocurrency coin. I'm going to have my crypto people on here explaining cryptocurrency in depth for those that don't know about it. Get on the crypto chain, because the monetary system is flipping. It is going from paper to digital. So this is why we're going to be digitizing a lot of our trust information, and we're going to be putting it on a ledger, and we're going to be putting it on a cold wallet, and we're going to be putting it in a safe box to where nobody can come and take our assets, where nobody can It's going to be like our lockbox, and nobody can be able to penetrate this trust, because we're going to be able to give you guys the steps on how to create a bulletproof trust. And this will shield your protection. This is the shield that God says, put the armor of God on, and this is your shield. And start thinking about what your crest is going to be for your trust. Start thinking of the names. This is going to be your homework. Start thinking of names you want to name your trust. Go into depth on what a trust name should look like. Start going on in depth of what a crest should look like. What should the crest have? What should the stamps have? Should it be colored? Should it be black and white? You should create one colored. You should create one black and white, because the black and white will go on the paper. The color one, you can use as your logo. It's just a logo for your trust. And you don't have to have the trust name on it. That when you do your research on that, you do your homework on that, you'll find that out, right? So this is what I want you guys to start using your own brain and start thinking, because start acting like a beneficiary, right? Start acting like a grantor. Start acting like you're the trustee, the proper position trustee, right? Where you manage the trust, and the grantor creates the trust, and the beneficiary benefits. The beneficiary is not supposed to be doing any paperwork, right? The grantor doesn't do any paperwork. The grantor just creates. The trustee manages all of the paperwork. So when you become conscious of these different positions, you'll become aware that there's a trust agreement when you go to a restaurant. There's a trust agreement when you go to the bank. There's a trust agreement when you have a verbal implied trust, right? Thank you, Minister. I know Spirit starts flowing, and Spirit's like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. I just let Spirit take over. So, and
Questions?
yeah, what questions you got?
We have Nina and Elle. So Nina, go first.
Well, for me, I'm thinking about my own future, because thinking about a 5-bedroom that I wanted, and also I want to get married and have kids, but sometimes it's gonna be a lot of work on them, and also I want to save money, because money is gonna take more time for me, not to spend as much on money.
Have I told you today how much I love you and how beautiful you are?
Yes, all the time you do. All the time.
This is my beautiful niece, Serena. And I love you, Serena. Let me just tell you something. You are going to be a beneficiary of the trust, and you have nothing to worry about. And
True.
Me and Tammy are going to protect you, and we're your protector. So just know we're going to have that 5-bedroom farmhouse. All right.
True. And don't forget, we're going to have a bar too, with a big pool in it.
Everything Zarina, can I bottle your confidence and
yes,
put it in a bottle and carry it around with me?
Yes.
Your confidence is out of this world, and I love every bit of it. And I love that you're a part of our team, and I love that you're a part of my family, Zarina. And you're going to be more than protected, and we're going to have the beautiful backyard you want. We're going to have the beautiful pool you want, and our community is going to support it, and we're going to support you. We're going to, Serena, you're going to be driving my cars. So get
I can't wait.
You're going to be driving.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I can't wait for you either. So just know you're going to be fully protected, my love. And I love you more than life itself.
Yes, you are.
And I can't wait to hug you and squeeze you.
Tara and Tammy, I love you all.
Yes, my
I love
love.
you. And
you.
all you are so beautiful angels, because no matter what I'm doing in this world, God praise me, because I'm the badass queen.
Yes,
you are. Y'all, get some of her confidence. If you haven't got her confidence, get her confidence. Hallelujah, Serena.
Yep.
Hallelujah.
Yep.
I love you so much, to the moon, to the fake moon and back.
I love you more, to the earth and the planet.
I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, what's the next question? I love you, Zarina.
Wow. Ellie, Danielle.
Hi,
Miss Danielle.
Sorry, video is not available right now.
No worries, I can hear you.
I have been working on trust, right?
Yes.
Well, it's a lot. And I'm trying to kind of like I'm trying to organize myself and think, okay, what trust do we need? So far, the one that I have that is, created, done with is the revocable trust. Um, and I'm working on the e- ecclesiastical, I think that's what you say,
Yes.
trust. But so what all different types of trust and what goes in where, and trust is kind of kicking my behind because I'm confused on that.
Miss Danielle, are you in our community in our
Yeah,
Telegram
yeah.
squad?
It's only been like a week that I've been there, and this week we've had really really sucky internet. We've had literally almost like blackout for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more blackouts. That's
I
why we
know.
have to
That's why
go
I'm trying to do
inward.
the things.
That's why we have to go inward and do the work. When we're creating these trusts, we want to know why we're creating it, what we're creating it for, who are we creating it for, and how and where, right? So when you're creating these trusts, you want to have all of these answers created before you start creating these trusts. So you don't have these questions, because you're going to have a trust, you're going to have an irrevocable, revocable, and your ecclesiastical trust. Now,
Right.
how are you going to position yourself, right? Where are you going to position yourself? So you want to have, like, for the homework for that, I want you to start, and I commend you so much, Danielle. Like, you just started learning this information last week, in the past couple weeks that you've been joining us on these calls. And I commend you for wanting to take action, right? And I commend you for wanting to, get in position, right? So you want to start learning the positions. You want to start learning, what does a revocable trust do? What does an irrevocable trust do, right? Because
Yeah.
a
Right.
revocable trust can be revoked, an irrevocable trust can't, right? So, but there's no takebacks in an irrevocable trust. And you want to have your assets protected. And what assets are you putting into this trust? Have you
Right.
created a trust indenture, which is your trust res, which is the body of the trust, which has your bylaws, which has your clauses? That's another thing I wanted to reach up on. Start studying your clauses. A good man leaves an inheritance. Proverbs 13:22. Thank you for this. Because you want to have a jurisdiction clause, you want to have a debt discharge clause, and you want to have a succession clause. So start studying what clauses are, and start studying um, your wording, right? Because you want to make your trust not complicated, because they use legalese to complicate everything, right?
Yeah.
Now we
Yeah.
know a person is a corporation, and now we know every time they say person, it means corporation or dead entity or entity, right? So now you now know these words. You want to start using canon logical language, right? So start studying canon law, start studying equity. When you start understanding equity and you start learning canon law, God's law, start studying the scriptures, all of your answers will be answered. All of your questions will be answered. So start studying your clauses, because, like, there's a jurisdiction clause. This trust operates under ecclesiastical law, not domestic. Like the debt discharge clause, all tender debts refused under UCC 3-603B are void. Succession clause, heirs inherit as beneficiaries, not debtors, and then via biometric verification. So you want to have all of these clauses inside of your trust indenture, and you want to make sure that all your I's are dot and all your T's are crossed. And this is why we're making the guide. The guide is going to be helping you understand this
Yeah.
position. It's going to be helping you understand maxims and the laws of the maxims of equity and canon law, contract law, trust law. You want to know, again, study the why, the how, the who, the what, the when, and the where. And if you don't know, plug it into your chat GPT so you can start programming your chat GPT that this is an area that you already know about and that you just want chat GPT to expand on. I use DeepSeek, but I always refer to chat GPT because everybody understands that one. I I highly recommend I'm DeepSeek over ChatGPT, but everybody already has ChatGPT and look into getting DeepSeek. And Minister, you had one too. It was Claude AI. Claude AI helps you organize everything, all of your projects that you're doing, and then some, right? I'm messing around with that one too. I've been plugging stuff into all three different chats, DeepSeek chat and Claude. Yeah, Minister, you're bad at organizing. That's why you got me and Tammy and Jay with you now. And but the AI, I like to see what AI knows what, and you'll see that some AIs don't know about other AI, because it's what you program, right? Like my Claude isn't programmed as well as my DeepSeek is. Like my DeepSeek will go more in depth because I've programmed it to go more in depth. Now my Claude is surface level because I haven't programmed it as much. But go ahead and ask questions in the Telegram group.
Yeah.
Reach out to me on Instagram or through the Telegram. And I did a detox. I did a digital detox, and I haven't been on social media as much. I just, I'm making this huge presentation. Me and Minister are going to be traveling, and I'm making this huge presentation for hypnotherapy. And I am embedded in this organization that Minister has built for the veterans. And, I want to help the veterans as well. I want to help individuals, legacy builders, people who are ready to transform and with hypnotherapy. And you also got an easy way for reminder for, okay, no problem. And I was just reading a comment, but yeah, just start plugging stuff into your ChatGPT. And I'm doing that with my presentation, and it's helping me understand I'm having it plug in how to use Canva, because I am not a Canva savvy person. But now, since I plugged everything into ChatGPT, I learned Canva, and now my presentation is going to become beneficial, not only to the vets, the minister's organization, but to myself. So I'm excited to be sharing this with you guys, and you guys will see the guide come out. You guys will see the presentation come out. You guys will see all of this information come out. So I'm excited for you guys to be here with us on this journey. And I hope I helped answered your question, Danielle. And if anything, just reach out to me in private. And it's all about layering your trust and knowing how to layer it. And then also, yeah, you got to get your estate number, which will be in our guidebook. And the way to get your estate number is you have to follow our guide. And if not, then you can ask ChatGPT and do the research yourself. But your
When you
estate
say
is
state number, is that the 98 number, or
it's
is that
your estate number, which is your straw man, which will be your sole proprietor. That's how you get it through the IRS. You get it through the E-Verify.
okay?
Yes. And you have to create it if it's not already created for you. I can go in depth with you more,
Yeah.
Miss Danielle, in the back end, but
Yeah.
please reach out to me on Telegram. Since you are in the Telegram group, reach out to me through Telegram privately. I'm Tara Zach under the under the Telegram group. So go ahead and reach out to me.
I will. I have one hurdle, one battle that I have to fight right now. So I'm trying to just focus on that one. And in the meantime, in the off time, I just have to throw in all the trust and all the these and all the that's, right? Yeah.
Right? And know
It's so
which trust you're
much.
putting it in, and know what trust
This is
operates and
why
how the
they
trust operates.
Yeah, this is why they decided that we needed lawyers and all this and all that, because they made it so complicated. So
Yeah, but we're learning how to govern ourselves accordingly
exactly.
right now, because we don't need
Thank
a
you.
lawyer, we don't need a bar card lawyer, we don't need all that CPA, the tax people. You can go ahead and get your own tax person as long as they know about sovereignty and they know about the estate, they know about trusts. So go
Right.
ahead and get one that knows about that information, and that is, you can make that your trust protector. You want to make your accountant. Yeah, start a family office. You know, you want to have the correct people in your team. And once you get further into this trust information, you're going to start learning about NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, where they have to sign these non-disclosure agreements and that they will not be able to talk about your trust information. And did you know you can go 4 times a year with your family and talk trust information, and you can go to anywhere in the world and talk about it, and it's covered by the trust? And you have to have trust minutes, and you got to start learning about TCU, which is trust credit units, you know, and then you also have to learn about interests, you know, so you want to start learning all of this about the trust. And yeah, we're going on vacation time, Tammy, another vacation for you. And we have some trust information to talk about. So, you know, start learning about the UCCs, the UCC 3, UCC 1, UCC 9, and this will teach you all about the secured party superiority, the reservation of rights, and how tender refusal, which is discharge, work. And don't leave me. Yeah, we're not leaving yet. And but we are gonna end this call right now, this live right now. And I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for, you know, spending today with me after 4th of July. And thank you guys, everybody who's also in the replay listening to this on YouTube. And yeah, we're getting ready to have an after party because that's where all the jam happens and all the gems happen. But I just want to thank you guys again for being here from the bottom of my heart. You could have been anywhere else and you chose to be here. So thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Tammy,
Thank you, ladies.
I made it late. I look forward